And those were lyrics.
Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Okay.
Yeah, those were lyrics in a song.
Oh, that's Jefferson Starship?
Yeah, from way back then, you know.
Chaos.
And
Or
we were faced with that dilemma then.
right.
But when you look historically back through the centuries,
Mm-hmm.
we've always been faced with that question. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community?
Right.
You know, how do we pull it together in this?
As a species, as a
Yeah,
whole.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Since we're so divided. Just by even having nation states and you wrote, only by venturing into the unknown do we enable new ideas to take shape. And those shapes are different for each voyager. Oh, interesting. Only by venturing into the unknown. Okay. Yeah.
What's true for
Makes me
you?
think of the new world a little bit, the whole
Yeah.
exploration of the planet. Yeah. Oh, there's like a poem here. The stars will not let me go. Living with the sky and stars is an experience in space. I feel myself expanding into the vastness. I feel my boundaries open, my vision lift, my internal defenses dissolve. With so much space, there is no place to go but out. Yeah. Something that...
See, these are things that you pick up over time,
Uh-huh.
and they have an impact on your thinking,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it has an impact on the direction
Mm-hmm.
on your, in your own journey, in your individual journey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. As voyagers, you know, we're all on a journey,
Yeah.
but your journey is not my journey.
No, none.
But our goals may be the same.
Could we align our goals?
There you go.
Imagine if you could... Well, it's like any human being, when they have meaning in their life, the way I define that is, yeah, they have a goal, and all of a sudden, once they found their goal, they found their meaning, they can, well, it's fun. It's like you want to...
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure.
Sure.
Human beings want an adventure, I think. It's sort
Exactly.
of built into it.
Because it stimulates
We want
us.
a little bit of danger.
It's what allows us to grow.
Right.
You know,
right.
how do we grow as a species?
Right now, our society doesn't really allow us to grow. There's not a lot of exploration. There's not that...
Suppression.
Right. It's like, work your job, work your 40 hours, put your 40 hours in, go home, eat a meal, see your kids, whatever, and then
Rewind.
that's it. Just
Do
do
it
that
again.
every day. And for most people, I don't know. For a lot of people, that just seems like death. You know, what's that quote? Is it Henry David Thoreau? Most men live lives of quiet desperation.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good insight.
Yeah.
I guess that's why he wanted to go into the woods and do whatever, but... Yeah, human beings do need a little bit of... If you look at our lives as tribals, as like hunter-gatherers, it's like everybody had a role to play, right? There's still tribes today that live like that.
Yeah.
Do you want some more coffee? You're like freezing.
Yeah. I'll take a little heater.
Yeah,
Sure.
let me see if it's made. The sun warms this place up so much.
Yeah, this is
Cold Vermont morning.
been on my mind for
I know
a
this has
long,
been an
long time.
this has connected your different phases of your life. You know,
Exactly. See, this one goes back. This essay goes back to the meeting we had with President Kennedy at the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, and he asked the big questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I know.
I'm saddened by what happened.
Well,
You know, really.
even I feel the loss, and I wasn't even alive. You know what I mean? It's just history. Somebody taught me, but I feel the loss.
This was in August of 1963. What is the human potential in an environment of freedom? And what are the possibilities for a world community? Two questions first posed by President John F. Kennedy more than a generation ago in a speech he made at a ceremony awarding him an honorary degree from the University of North Dakota, Grand Forks. Two questions presented to a group of students of political science and meaning to stimulate a thought process concerning the future of the human endeavor. The turmoil of the times, both here at home and around the world, had humanity pushed to the brink of civil wars and global conflagration.
Yeah.
The struggle for civil rights here at home and for human rights around the world, economic inequities, differing political ideologies and religious differences, all added to the tension of the times. What's different today?
Not just some details about who has nuclear weapons, the Chinese, and more countries have them.
Yeah,
It's maybe more complicated. There's more human beings on the planet.
and the divisions go on.
Yeah, the same divisions and yeah.
A truly global perspective of the human condition was beginning to emerge, and the ramifications of dysfunctional human behaviors were becoming more evident.
Yeah, that's for sure.
An out-of-control arms race between the world's superpowers and the stockpiling of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction did not bode well for the continuation of our species. The whole world was at risk. In her pivotal work, Silent Spring, and just another one, you know, these people, they brought the truth. They brought the truth out and put it in your face.
Yeah, Kennedy's so interesting. Like, he had some kind of vision. Like, there was a spiritual element to what he was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
he wanted he was talking about everybody, not just Americans. Right?
Exactly.
That's the same, yeah. Which is...
In her pivotal work, Silent Spring, Rachel Carson presented clear evidence of our assault on the natural environment. A level of consciousness began to emerge that would reveal a growing psychological disconnect from the natural world. The 20th century, punctuated by two global wars, unbridled economic growth, and industrial expansion, has led to a ravaging of Earth's finite natural resources and an unprecedented level of obsessive production and compulsive consumption. We have arrived at a point now in the early decades of the 21st century where we are consuming the Earth itself.
Yeah, right.
The fabric of life on Earth is so stressed that many scientists who have made their life's work the study of natural systems believe we have reached a tipping point. That is, a point of no return, where life support provided by Earth's natural systems no longer work. You know, and
When did you write this?
I wrote this probably a couple of years ago when I started the journal.
It's scary stuff, but people it doesn't seem to be enough to wake people up. Like, you can be awake, you can get woken up, and then it's like, I don't know, life happens, I feel like. Like, I've seen it with my kids. They learned a lot of this. They grew up with, learning about the environment, the dangers, climate change and stuff. But then once they get into, the hormones kind of kick in, and and they realize they got to get a job. Same with me, you know, like you start to.
Yeah.
How do you maintain idealism in the midst of?
Yeah, the material world takes precedence over everything else.
One thing about America that I find so negative, just scary, is like how materialistic we are.
Yeah.
We don't give a
Yeah.
shit about the spiritual, about
No.
connecting with other. I mean, you know, not that.
Just connecting with nature.
Yeah, it's like we don't see that as a value. The fact, as many of us don't see it as a value.
This was entitled Spiraling Down, the Ongoing Assault on the Natural World. As thinking beings, we humans have the capability to form ideas in our minds. We have the capability to learn from our surroundings and from one another. We have the inherent ability to recognize the obvious, and we can do science. New knowledge, as revealed through science, gives us a better understanding of our world and our place in the scheme of things. How we use that knowledge, coupled with imagination and lessons learned from past experience, provides a dynamic for advances in the human condition. You know, but we're not paying attention to what our human nature.
We haven't, you know, we're not taking the time to stop and learn about ourselves.
Yeah, and
We don't feel we have the time.
what we really want, because
That's a good point. Yeah. What we really want.
what we really want.
What do you want? Has anyone ever asked you that question and you just sort of stopped in your tracks? You're like, I don't fucking know.
But the funny thing is,
Yeah,
Jay,
yeah.
we all want the same freaking thing.
We all want peace, except for some weirdos.
You want peace?
We want to be with our kids. We want to see
You
them
want your
grow up.
family?
We want them to be healthy.
Healthy?
We want to have enough to eat.
We all want the same thing all over the world.
Yeah.
It's common.
So why don't we, why do we let ourselves be so divided, you know?
It's the big C.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
Oh, capitalism. Uh-oh. This is where Frank goes into his
It's a scourge.
commie,
No, it's a scourge. It really is.
commie phase. Yeah, I just don't think there's any other economic system. You know, I mean, I heard what that guy say in that movie we watched a couple nights ago. He was like, basically, money is made up. We all know this. Money is made up.
Yeah, it's all
not-
pieces of paper with
Right,
pictures on it.
Right, exactly, yeah. But we have money, we have that system, and we exchange money so that we don't have to kill each other in order to get a meal, you know? Especially when there's 6 billion people on the earth, or what is it now? More than that?
Yeah, we're getting there. 7.
7?
Yeah.
We don't really know. We have to come up with a way to cooperate and have... Yeah, I don't know how you cooperate without some sort of shared goals. I think we have the shared
Say that
values.
again.
I don't think we know how to cooperate without shared...
Cooperate.
Right.
Cooperate.
Yeah.
Cooperate.
Yeah.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any rhetoric coming from our politicians about that either.
What is a co-op?
Shared ownership. Ownership by the workers. Oh no, you turned me into a communist, Frank. Curse you. Yeah. No, I think ideally there's something to it. Co-ops can be very successful, right?
Yep.
Even corporations that are publicly traded are owned by shareholders, but it's a whole different system. It's not by the workers themselves.
No.
It's by the
The elites.
people who they take something, a company, and they break it up into parts. They parcel it up and then they sell it.
They gamble.
Yeah, it's gambling, right? The whole system. I just think at its very core, capitalism is a free market. I choose whether to trade with you. I choose whether to barter, whether I give you money, you give me a service. That's just a basic freedom and human respect, and we do, you know. But then when it gets complicated,
barter, yes, barter.
I mean, is the problem money?
Something that you have
Yeah.
has value to someone else.
Right.
And therefore, they will give you something that they have that has value to you
Mm-hmm.
in a fair exchange. And you agree on that,
Right.
all right? That's basically a cooperative agreement
Mm-hmm.
that you've made with this other individual, right?
Mhm.
So where does money come in?
Gosh.
That's something that was invented in order to put
Yeah.
an element between you and the
And
other.
your fellow man?
Yeah,
Other people?
yeah.
That's interesting. To look that up. I read a book talked about the origin of money. Jeez.
It can go back to
Okay.
it can go back to our simple tool making capability. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can demonstrate to you how well this stone arrowhead works as compared to whatever the club that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
So this stone arrowhead
Like, oh, we need this guy's.
has incredible value to
Right.
you as a hunter,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh, I think maybe it was Sapiens. A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Harari. You should read that. Richard and I read it. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
She was trying to like start a book club. Nancy was going to read it. Never ended up doing it, but yeah, it's fascinating. Like, why do we have money?
Yeah.
It's like we had to take the value of things that, you know, are pure value and make them symbolic somehow. But then you get this weird economic system, which is like, it's divorced from the basic reality of living, like making a living. Just in terms of finding food and shelter. It's a weird system.
Yeah, if you look at the history of capitalism, how it started, where it began, I think that's an area that, you know, should be examined a little deeper,
Mm-hmm.
the origins of capitalism. And what was the ideology behind it?
Sorry, my mom's texting me. What was the origins of what?
The origins of capitalism.
I don't know. Shit. Did Europeans invent it?
Well, I'm sure they did. East India trading
Gosh.
companies and
How do I not know these things?
or maybe it came from the Eastern cultures. I don't know. But rare finds
Mm-hmm.
like gold,
Yeah, how did gold come
And-
to have a value that was...
diamonds, you know, these are elements from the earth that are rare.
Ergo, they are more valuable than other rocks and other minerals
Yeah,
because there's fewer of them.
yeah, because they're rare.
And then there were the medieval scientists or what proto-scientists who were trying to make gold.
Yeah, the alchemists.
The alchemists.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I forget why they were trying to make gold.
The
I thought
alchemists.
that might help out.
and
If you could make gold, I guess you'd be really rich.
yeah, the mystics.
Yeah, there was a mystical element to it.
Yeah, there was.
It's weird.
there was a whole genre of storytelling and mysticism that was implanted
Mm-hmm.
over generations in the minds of people.
Mm-hmm.
Started with the primitives sitting around a campfire at night and wondering, what are the lights in the sky?
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And they start telling stories.
They make stories.
They
Because what gets handed
have to
down.
have some kind of
Right,
understanding
right.
of what are the lights in the sky.
Yeah. Well, I guess they don't have to, but for human beings, we do.
Yeah, we're
Other
curious.
species don't need stories.
Yeah, we're naturally curious.
We're curious.
Yeah.
But we have this idea of handing down knowledge to other generations. So beyond time, we want to be able to communicate our stories
Exactly.
to our children and their children and so on.
And then it gets passed on as...
Which is what I'm fascinated by. Our stories.
But it saddens me as much to know about the murder of Hypatia
Mm-hmm.
as it does to know about the murder of President Kennedy. It saddens me as much because
We
There
kill
was
the
a-
people who are prophets, who are like forward thinkers and visionaries.
yeah,
Right?
there was a clear element of truth
Yeah.
that was extinguished.
Right. Right. It's important to understand the difference between belief and truth. Truth
Yeah,
is
yeah,
open to everyone to question.
yeah, yeah. To examine,
Right.
to verify.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the importance of science, which we did get
exactly. Truth.
from the European culture, right? I mean,
Well,
Christianity helped
Even
open
before
up
that.
people's ability to reason, to be able to question reality, define reality. Yeah. But certainly, yeah, the Egyptians had some form of science. The Chinese, right?
Yeah.
We've been studying these.
Yeah.
It seems like we get a lot from the Greeks.
Look how little
They were really.
we've garnered from the Eastern cultures.
Yeah, I've read a lot about Zen and Buddhism and different. I find the way they look at the world really fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know that much about it. Maybe we should get some breakfast. I don't know how much more I can. Oh,
So this is the journal on community.
okay. Oh, you have a journal on community.
And
Okay, what's this?
the other journal is on chaos.
Huh?
So where do we go from here? Chaos or community? So I had a hard time blending it into one
Oh, okay.
book. So I started this one out. Divide and conquer. The oldest tactic in the world.
That's how you create chaos. Yeah.
Before leaving office, President Eisenhower warned the American people of the power of the military-industrial complex. His successor, President Kennedy, wanted more than anything world peace. Presidents Eisenhower and Kennedy had both faced the perils of war and both understood
That's
the danger.
the difference. They faced a
facing-
world war. They faced almost total disaster, right?
Yeah.
Like we were close to seeing. I mean, America could have been. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Taken
both faced
over.
the
Right,
perils
okay.
of war and both
Mhm.
understood the danger facing all of humanity in the nuclear age.
Yeah.
The Cold War era of the 1960s had the entire world on the brink of complete and total devastation. Early in his presidency, Kennedy recognized the looming dangers, saw diplomacy and negotiation as the only alternative to conflict. President Kennedy pulled the plug on the CIA's invasion of Cuba, and he wanted to as well in the conflict in Vietnam,
Mhm.
choosing diplomacy as the only solution to world problems. However, he sought negotiation only from a position of strength. November 22nd, 1963, shots that rang out in Dallas, Texas, and struck down President John Kennedy was an event that shook the heart and soul of America and the world. As a result of his murder, the war machine took on a life of its own. And I lived through this.
Certainly did.
I was on
this
active
was your
duty in the Air
lifetime.
Force, so I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And the American people became morally and ethically divided, a divide that continues to this day. Political divisions, red states versus blue states, conservative versus liberal, left versus right, and the extremist groups on both sides of this political divide are in
Yes.
effect tearing this nation apart.
That's how I see it.
And it goes on about the mass shootings and all the
That's
other.
exactly how I see it.
This is. So anyway,
We get the corruption, it begins at the top, and then we get divided, we get lost in our own materialism, and we start to give up hope that there's any kind of a spiritual meaning to, or there's a chance for all human beings to connect. Because, you know, when you were living through the Cold War, you probably thought, well, this could end, I don't know, or that there could be some sort of ultimate diplomacy, right? Didn't people used to think maybe we could get rid of all the nukes, and there was some hope, there was a hopefulness to the...
President Kennedy, in his efforts to convert the double-edged sword
of science and technology
into something positive,
right, the positive
we challenged the stars. You know, we went to the moon. We put that technology to work
for the human good,
for the benefit of all of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine.
Yeah.
I just think for my generation, there's a lot of us who feel like there's sort of a kind of hopelessness, you know. There's a kind of a numbness, like there's just kind of like...
I know what you mean.
We grew up in the Cold War too, and you know, in the 80s, and now more countries have, you know, like nuclear power is an interesting thing, but so many countries have nuclear weapons, and
nuclear power is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's dangerous, but from what I've read, it's becoming a lot safer. I don't know. I'm a big Star Trek guy. I just see like, you know, essentially, isn't it nuclear fission or fusion that's going on that runs the starships?
Yeah,
Allows people to
something like that. I guess I don't know.
To travel to
Warp
other
speed,
stars.
right?
Warp speed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a pretty good session. I like